Hey everyone, welcome back to TK's Tech Talk. I'm TK and this is TTKK, or better known as their trusty kitchen knife. And today we are back for another unboxing video of the MX Master 3, and I will be comparing it with the Performance MX that I've been using for many years now, I think 6 or 7 years or 8 years or something like that. And recently I've had some issues with the left click. So when I click once, it clicks twice, and it's really frustrating me, especially when watching videos and things like that, doing general work. It's becoming a little bit frustrating. So I've decided to upgrade my mouse, and there was a reasonable deal on the MX Master 3 in UAE over this weekend, and I ordered it, and I thought, let's see what it's like and see how it turns out. And the first thing that caught my eye was this brown box, and I don't remember a box like this when I got the Performance MX, and I have done some research. So apparently it looks like this is a legit retail boxing that some resellers use, like Amazon, and I bought this from Amazon, from a different seller though, a third-party seller. And it looks like that there is this brown box available globally. It's there, and it looks like it's available for a slightly cheaper price for people who choose to sell it on Amazon, places like that, which is cheaper than the nice looking retail packaging. And to be honest, let's be fair, once you got the mouse out of the box, you don't really care, right? So apparently it's probably legit. So we're going to find out. But the main thing is there is a QR code on the back, and I have scanned that QR code. It does take you to a site which says that it is a Logitech wireless mouse or something like that. So it tells you product number or something. So product number here, in case anyone's interested, is 910005710, which is on the Logitech website, as far as I know, the model number for the MX Master 3. It also says in the box we get the mouse, we get the receiver, we get a USB A to C cable, and some documentation, bedtime reading. So let's put the Performance MX to the side for now. And also I will try and register this online as well and let you know how that goes. One more thing, apparently this serial number here is different from the serial number on the mouse. And again, I've seen on some forums, Reddit and things like that, that this is quite normal. When you register the mouse, it's what's inside that matters, the serial number on the mouse. We should not be using the serial number on the outside of the box. Apparently, that's what I've heard, and hopefully it will register fine. So I'm going to first unbox it, I'll register it, and I might try and continue recording today if possible. Otherwise, I'm going to come back and continue this video. So let's, without wasting any more time, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people who have questions about this brown box, because I did, and I couldn't find enough information or videos around it. So I just wanted to discuss those things. So first, let's cut this tab open with the trusty knife. Probably could have just peeled it off actually. I don't even know why I got the knife out today. Just realized it's just a little tab, but it's causing me enough trouble. Some drama there. Right, that's done. Let's see what's inside the box. And straight away we have a nice position for the unifying receiver. It's a newer style unifying receiver. Let's see if I can zoom into that to show it to you. There we go. Okay, upside down. Anyway, you get the message. Nothing exciting. It's just a unifying receiver. Put that to the side. Open up the mouse packaging. Let's see inside. So we actually have a reasonable length USB-C cable. It's a nice feeding cable. It has some wire. So lost the camera there. Sorry guys. Start again. It's a nice feeding cable. Some cable management. Typical USB A to C, nothing exciting about that. Let's put that aside. Oh, one thing I noticed is it's still red, I believe, inside. I think it's like the other ones, the unifying receiver, that is. Some bedtime reading, some more bedtime reading, and then finally the mouse, and nothing else inside. So let's get all of that out of the way, and let's open up this packaging and see what this mouse is about. And one thing is, before I start talking too much in detail, I want to go and try and register this and see what it's all about, but make sure it's legit, like I said. But for now, I have been reading some reviews. There's mixed reviews, and some people say, oh, the buttons are mushy. Some people say, oh, the Performance MX fits better depending on how you hold it or how you're used to holding it. And I'm really hoping that just by holding it like that, so far it feels like I'll be okay with it. But there are people who have been complaining. So let me go and register this, and then I'll come back and do a comparison. Back in a moment. Actually, before I register the product, I just noticed something. So let's have a quick look around the mouse. Got some scrolling buttons there, a couple of buttons here. This clicks as well. So we've got the free scroll. I'm guessing this is digitally controlled, I'm not sure. Right now it's scrolling quite nicely. I'm not sure if it clicks like the old one. The old one had a more clicky. Yeah, don't do a full comparison right now, but anyway, USB-C port for charging there. And then there's some label at the bottom which we need to peel before we can see the serial number. So let's just peel that. So we have a power button, pairing button for up to 3 devices, and that's it. So now let me go register it. Back in a moment. Okay, I'm back, and I just want to point out here that I've actually been using the mouse, the new mouse, the MX Master 3 for about 10 days now. I thought I'd actually take a break between the videos so I can actually use the mouse for a while and give you my current view on how it feels after using the Performance MX for many years. And I thought I'd give it some time before I actually talk about the differences, so I can talk about the feel and the comfort and things like that. Firstly, however, just want to point out that that brown box, it's fine. I was able to register the mouse. The serial number was detected on the Logitech website and I registered it. Everything was absolutely fine. So why don't we take a look around both the mice, and then I can talk about my personal experience about how the mouse feels, the new mouse feels over the Performance MX. And I just want to say from now, before I even discuss the differences, that everyone's hands are different. You know, like when I hold the mouse like this, it might be comfortable for me. When I hold this mouse, it might be comfortable for me, but maybe your hands are slightly bigger, slightly smaller, so the overall experience will vary from user to user, and that's understandable for any mouse on the market. Whether you get a symmetrical mouse or an asymmetrical mouse like these are obviously made for right-handed users primarily. Unless you're ambidextrous, of course, you can use both. But let's just talk about the differences first, and then I'll talk about my experience of the feel of the 2 different mice. So first, let's start with the top. So we've got the Performance MX on the left here, and if we just have a quick look at it like this, so we have this button here, and this can be activated while the mouse is on or off, and that will either give you a smooth scroll like this or a clicky scroll like that. Not sure if you can hear that there. And one thing about this mouse is that you can actually, as you can see the arrows, the left and right arrows, you can actually program these, I believe, to have some sort of function. I've never used that, but it is there and it is handy for people who will use it. And then we have a battery indicator here, and also it says DPI settings. I've never really tried to change the DPI settings, so I don't know exactly what the LEDs indicate when changing the DPI, but there is also a battery marker there as well as a DPI marker, just to tell you that this is an indicator for those things. So on the top of this one then, you can see the shape is a little bit different, and this button only works when the mouse is on. So this is more like a digital button. It is not a physical button like this one. When you tap it while the mouse is on, it will change whether this clicks or whether it freely scrolls, and obviously it does have that feature where right now you can hear it like that because the mouse is off when I'm doing it fast. But while the mouse is actually on, when you scroll the wheel like this, it will go into a free rolling movement. So that will allow that to just roll until you stop it. And there is no left and right movement this time. There's not even an arrow left and right showing that it can be moved left and right. There's no indicator, but there is one light here on the side which does show power light. I believe it goes in 3 colors to show the different levels, but it's definitely not as easy as this one to see your current battery life. It's not a big deal because this mouse lasts a lot longer. I think this is supposed to last like 70 days or something of a full charge, and this one would last about 10 days, something like that. So there's a massive difference in the battery life. So another thing is, this is, I believe, a steel wheel as opposed to the plastic construction on this one. This one's a lot more noisy in normal operation. I'm not sure if you can hear it here on the microphone. Maybe I should put the microphone closer to try that. Not sure if you can hear that, but I would also find out when I listen to the video when I'm actually uploading. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to upload it like that, like it is. Let's move over to the side. So one interesting difference is these buttons here. So we've got the left, these 2 buttons can be programmed for backwards and forwards or something like that. And then there's actually a zoom button at the bottom there. You can see there's a zoom button there. And then there's another button here which can also be programmed. I think typically it was back or something, I can't remember now. I don't really use these buttons, so it doesn't really matter to me, but there's a button there. And then there is another button. You can actually see there's some sort of marker for the button there. On this mouse, instead of the zoom button, we have a scroll wheel. So you can also program the scroll wheel in different applications. And then the forward and back arrows, or the two programmable buttons, you can see there's no necessarily forward and back arrow anymore because they're customizable buttons anyway. So those two buttons have now moved. They're a little bit smaller, but in my opinion, when you're holding the mouse like this, they're a lot more easy to access, much easier to access than, you know, having to move your hand on top of the mouse. You see, like, you have to literally, you know, move the position of your thumb quite a lot to access that button. Not a big deal at the end of the day, you know, they're still both more or less the same. Switch over to the other side. And there's nothing really to see on this side apart from the difference in the shape, as you can see there. There is a slight difference, but mostly they've kept this sort of shape the same. I'm guessing they've improved the design, maybe based on more users, more people's hands, and, you know, it's slightly different, but more or less the same. In terms of size in general, I believe this mouse is slightly wider, but maybe this one at the widest point is the same, but you have a much bigger resting area for your thumb here, as you can see. Not sure if you can see on the camera properly, but there's a much bigger resting area here, whereas on this one, you know, your thumb sort of hangs off the end and it feels more trapped in between this gap, and here it just feels more free to move around. And from the front of the mouse, if you want to have a look at that, and this is how it looks. There is a slight difference in this taper here and this ridge here for holding the mouse. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I just want to show you that from the front, this one has a micro USB port and this one here has a USB Type-C port. And it's nice to see this because it provides faster charging, and also going forward, as more and more devices become USB-C, you'll eventually be able to have that one single USB Type-C cable which will charge all of your devices. Okay, one other difference is the logo. So let's just have a look at that. So here we have the new Logitech logo, L-O-G-I, Logi or Logi or whatever they want to call it. And then here you have the good old Logitech logo from back in the days. And there is some text here which says dark field. We'll talk about dark field now when we look on the underside of the mouse. So let's turn them around. Lovely show going on there, upside down. So from underneath, you can see there's quite some difference between the layout and the way the pads for the surfaces are. And I don't know why they got rid of this nice unifying logo from the bottom of this mouse, or maybe it's there. Is it there? I don't see it, but at least, you know, with this it's nice to see, you know, straight away you look at it, it's a unifying device. You don't see that on here. Now we know that this is a unifying device because it's a much newer model and things like that. But let's have a look at the old one first. So on the old one, we have a dark field laser. What that means is it tracks on any surface, including glass. That's the meaning of the dark field. We have the on-off slider switch here, and then we have the battery compartment. Now this is a great feature of this mouse. The battery is user replaceable. You just pull the tab. It's a standard rechargeable AA battery. I have a video about replacing this battery and what all these voltages and things like that mean if you do plan to change that. So that's a nice feature there. And that's about it really. So the on-off button is on the left here. The dark field laser, which tracks on any surface, tracks at around, I think, 1400 or 1200 DPI. I can't remember now. And then you have the user replaceable AA rechargeable battery. Moving over to the MX Master 3, there are some noticeable differences. First, the on-off button has moved. Oh, there is a unifying logo and a Bluetooth logo literally on top of that. I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but it's literally right there in black and white. So we've got the on-off switch, which is up and down this time. And when you turn it on, you can see that depending on which device you have selected, that button will flash. So this is the device selector button. So 1 is for the unifying receiver, 2 and 3 is for Bluetooth. So this makes it a lot easier to switch between multiple devices, and that's a massive advantage over the Performance MX. This dark field laser, which also tracks on any surface, is 4000 DPIs, and I believe the increments that you can change this in is 50 DPI, and on the old one I believe it was in a 100 DPI. So there's definitely an improvement there on the laser. So if you need to play games or something like that, it's not necessarily a gaming mouse, but there you go, you can see the LEDs on there. It's not necessarily a gaming mouse, but at least it will provide some sort of improved performance for gaming. I'm not sure how much difference it makes to have a 25,000 DPI mouse for gaming, even if it does make a difference. So that's just something to know if you're considering on buying either of these mice. Well, not that you can buy the Performance MX easily anymore, because it is like 8 or 9 years old. So that now moves on to, should you change from this mouse to this mouse if you're already using it? Now, the only reason, like I explained initially in my video, I have no issue with this mouse. I feel, for me, it feels amazing. It works fine. I've been using it for many years. I use it a couple of hours a day at home, and I have no issues with it. It's absolutely amazing. Just recently, I've noticed even though it sounds fine, sometimes when I'm clicking this left button, it's double clicking rather than single clicking, and it did become a little bit frustrating. It's not happening all the time, but whenever it happens, you might be doing something, you might accidentally close something, have to open it again. So things like that, and that's the only reason that I bought a new mouse. And obviously the MX Master 3 is the one that's currently in the market, so I decided to go for the newest one. So in terms of the experience, this mouse is quite comfortable to hold. For me at least, it's very comfortable. And while I'm holding it now, I haven't held this mouse for about 10 days, and what's interesting is it feels very different to how it used to feel. Now, I do actually use a mouse pad which has a gel wrist rest, so it does feel a bit different when it's raised up, but I've just realized that there is some difference in the way they feel. When I first got it, I wasn't sure how my hand would adjust to this, and I just realized after 10 days, it's very natural for me to hold this mouse, and it feels very different to hold this one. So there definitely is a difference in the grip. And this one feels a bit more bulky at the back now. Now that might be better for bigger hands, and this one feels a better fit, but now it feels like the palm of my hand is actually touching the table, whereas here, I had a little contact here, and here, I have a lot more contact along this part here. So that's an interesting difference. I didn't realize that until I actually held the disc. So that's why I think it was important to have that experience of using this for a while before just saying, oh, this is bad or this is good. So both still feel very good. Both are very comfortable. Both are very usable mice. And if your mouse Performance MX is working fine, unless you need something like multi-device or Bluetooth connectivity, or if the battery life is frustrating you on this mouse and you want to have something you need to charge less often and faster, because this does provide fast charging from that USB-C port. And it has a nice grip, it has a nice rubberized texture. This is all plastic. You have some rubber here. And like I said, I think the thumb rest is much better on here, because your thumb sort of rests along this whole section here. Whereas here, if you can just about see that my end of my thumb is coming off the end of the mouse there. And it's not a big problem, by the way. I didn't even realize it until I actually started using this mouse, that my thumb now rests on the mouse itself. So not a massive difference, to be honest, but overall, for me personally, for the 10, 11 days I've been using this mouse, it's very comfortable. You can see there is like a little ridge here. It fits nicely in my hand. It's very natural. In this one, you can see that there is a gap here. You see that? So when I'm holding it in a similar sort of fashion, you can see that the gap is almost non-existent there. So it's a more natural fit. But having said that, even this one is down, it's more like that. So it's also flush more or less to the mouse, but it's just with this little raised ridge, it gives your hand a more natural feel. That's the whole point of these larger mice. And by the way, I'm not going to say that the Logitech is better than any other large format mouse that looks like this. It's just that Logitech have made incremental updates from the Performance MX, the MX Master, the MX Master 2S, and then the MX Master 3. And yeah, they are incremental updates. So overall, they're both very good. You can see there's some slight variations in design, where there's a seamless button there, and here you have the independent buttons. It doesn't really matter too much, to be honest. The reason why it's like this is because this part is still plastic. I'm guessing because this material will wear more, and we'll see over time, how this material wears, and if I have any issues with it, I will let you know about that. But this is also rubber, and there's not that much difference now. It's become a little bit shiny, looks a little bit different here, but overall, for an 8-year-old mouse, I can't really complain about that. Yeah, there is some wear you can see around the edges here, and that's why I was saying, you see, I'm guessing the buttons are not rubber, because I don't know if you can see that, but there is definitely, it looks like that's been chipped away at, like slowly over time as the buttons click, or as your fingers rub against it, that does wear away. But other than that, it's a really well built mouse, to be honest. And I'm hoping that This also lasts for years and doesn't die sooner, but at least I have a backup for now. I do have loads of other mice if you've been watching my video. I also have an MX Anywhere 3, which I hope to unbox at some point in the near future and try and do a massive mouse comparison. But I think that's all the main points covered. So if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask. And you know, you can have, there might be some Black Friday deals coming up. So, you know, keep an eye out on them if you're looking for a new mouse, or if you've been interested in the MX Master 3. I would say, if you get a chance, go into the shop, see how it feels, because sometimes they have them on display and you can have a play about with the mouse and see how it feels. So that's it for this video. Please do feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.